Good afternoon, and I'm sorry for the delay before. We would like to congratulate the organization and to say thank you to the organizers, especially to Alexandra Vieira. Second, and in advance, I would like to apologize for my very bad English, but I'll try to do my best. Tavira is located in the southern part of Portugal, in the Algarve, and the proximity of the sea allowed the city to have an important harbor where people arrive from various places in the Mediterranean and bringing different cultures and objects. So the objects we are sharing with you came from different archaeological sites with a different and a great variety of contexts, various materials, and a wide chronology, a diachrony that comes from since the Roman period to the modern and medieval period. The first materials are elements related to the cult of relics, and these objects were used to transport sacred oils or holy water. Most of them were brought by pilgrims who visited sacred places, working like souvenirs of those trips. The owners believed in the healing and apotropaic properties of these objects. The first one is dated from the 14th century and was found in Convento da Graça. One of the surfaces features an octafoil inserted in a circle and defining 8 equilateral triangles containing a small dot. The second ambula was found in Rua das Olarias, and it's dated from the 14th to the 15th centuries. Its surface has a fleur-de-lis inserted in a circle, contained by a second circle with vegetal motifs. The other surface shows an hexafoil motif also inserted in a circle. A third one was found consists on an isolated find. We don't know the context of the find, and was published by Gomes in 2011. On one of the surface, we can see the head of Christ, and on the other, the Agnus Dei. On the neck, there's a representation of a sword. All of these ambulas have 2 wings, and that was used to suspend it. They also share similarities with ambulas from Palmela and Torres Vedras. The second sort of amulets are the religious medals. They were used as a support for venerated images and acquired protective and intercessory characteristics, being a privileged means of dialogue with the sacred and also spreading Christianity and the message of the church. These medals are known as Veneras or Veronicas. The first one shows an ostensory with the rayed aura containing the sacred form, and the base is supported by clouds. The ostensory is flanked by the legend Holy Sacrament. On the reverse, it displays an image of the Immaculate Conception wearing long robes and a mantle, with her hands clasped on her chest and flanked by the legend Blessed Virgin conceived without original sin. The second medal shows on one side also the ostensory with the rayed halo, but without the legend. On the other side, it shows also a representation of Nossa Senhora da Conceição, also in the front position, but in this time she's standing on a lunar crescent, and she has a halo made of 7 stars, and she's also wearing long robes and a mantle, and both her hands are on her chest, and she's also flanked by the same legend, Blessed Virgin conceived without original sin. The third one was not to be worn in a pendant, but it was part of a rosary. This rosary was made with vitreous paste beads and was found in a grave on the neck of the male individual. The rosary is made of 165 oval or cylindrical beads, 16 blue and 149 whites. And the sizes are not are various. They don't have the same size. As the metal, it shows also the ostensorium with the red halo containing the sacred form, and also the base is resting on clouds. There's no, like the second medal, they don't have the legend. The reverse shows a representation again of the Immaculate Conception and in frontal position, but this time she has her left hand on her chest and her right hand is along the body. And it also has the same legend, Blessed Virgin conceived without original sin. The fourth element are crosses and crucifixes. The crucifix is the cross of Christ and is a symbol of veneration of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. It also symbolizes the resignation and acceptance of the sufferings of our life and the path that God has destined for us. Its use as an amulet has an aim to guarantee spiritual protection and enlarge our faith. We only have one crucifix. It's composed with a cross and the image of Jesus Christ. At the top, we found the plaque that usually shows the inscription Jesus Nazarenus Rex Judeorum, but this one doesn't show it. It has a circular hole on the top of the crucifix, indicating that it could integrate a rosary or a simple thread functioning as a pendant. The first cross that we brought to you makes the shape of it makes us think that it was possibly embedded. The back of the cross, as you can see, has a taper edge along the body to help holding it to the support. The front shows high relief decoration like circles, lines, and plain motifs. 3 of the hands have 3-lobed tips. The second cross was made out of wood and has a base wider than the rest, and at the intersection between the arms, we have 2 diagonally arranged incised lines. The top of the cross appears strangled, forming a kind of a crown. The base has 2 incised lines forming a kind of feet or support. The last cross is made of bone and have both arms defined by an open circular hole. In this way, each end represents the shape of a cross. One of the arms is perforated, so can it be worn as a pendant. From the Roman period, we have the first phallic fist-shaped amulet. It was found in Quinta de Torre, is one of the places that where the city of Balsa was excavated, and the presence of these amulets has the aim to protect its bearer from the evil eye, and also it's a symbol of the earth's fertility and a propitiator of fortune. The figa, it's the name we call to the fist-shaped, we Portuguese people call to the fist-shaped pendant, has the same propitiatory purpose. The representation of the male sexual organ as a protective character intended to protect those who possess them, being used by the most fragile and especially children. The amulets with geometric incised decoration on your right is broken, but it shows part of a hand in which the fingers are suggested by incised lines verifying that one of them is separated from the others and pointing. We don't know what was on the opposite ends. Like Maria do Sameiro showed, in Balsa were found straw-shaped pendants and also a vase-shaped pendant amulet, which were used to be suspended, intended to be suspended. These amulets are usually hollow and contain a small roll of papyrus or parchment, like Maria said, with a magical form or apotropaic content. They are both from balsa. We have more, but we just brought these two kinds. In this material, we have other shapes and forms like Maria showed. Now we have other type of amulets. It's they are made with brown bear teeth, and the use of teeth as an amulet aims to protect its bearers against the idea of danger expressed by the teeth of a wild beast, for example, a bear. These species are considered fierce and requires great ability to capture. They were found in Convento da Graça. These bear fangs were colored in red with iron oxide. And through the Middle Ages, hunting the bear in Portugal was reserved for monarchs and ruling elites, so it was considered a noble activity. We can consider that we are in the presence of an amulet, and the possibility that it corresponds to a hunting trophy cannot be ruled out. We also have stems, and they are from different three different archaeological sites and with similar chronology, and the stems were made from rods and they raise questions related to their functionality. Sorry. The elements under analysis show the end of the polished horned rod, one of which may correspond to a pendant. In general, the surface treatment and finishing make it difficult to identify the biological origin of the bone remains. Also, with bone, we have made out of bone, we have these amulets made with the stragglers. These, especially from sheep or goat. Traditional, this type of objects is associated with game, used like sort of a dice, and the art of divination or luck. However, we must consider the hypothesis that these elements are seen as the physical remnant of a being that once lived, so it can perform the function of an amulet and protective element. The first ones are made from a right astragalus of sheep or goat, and the plantar surface has a circular hole. The preserved side face has a central hole and an attempt to open another hole. The remaining specimens have all their surfaces treated like affectionate. Sheep or goat astragalus from Convento da Graça, it appears lightly polished, and the right side shows marked affection, while the left side shows only traces of affection. Moving on to a different chronology and different support, we have this fragment of a roof tile with the six-pointed star. The six-pointed star is imbued with a magical meaning, and it's associated with the figures of King David and Solomon, whose power extends to magic and the domain of the jinn, the genies that the Islamic people believed on. Fragment of a roof tile. This fragment of a roof tile, besides the six-pointed stars, we have the Al-Basmala formula that is Bismillah Rahman Rahim, that means in the name of God, the merciful. And this particular tile has done, who wrote it, changed the order of the formula. Instead of Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, it says Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is a formula that begin most of the Quranic surahs, and probably because it's made in a tile, it's probably a protection against lightning, and was found in the Almohada courtyard in Convento da Graça. We also have
I'm sorry I'm sorry, it's 15 minutes, okay? So
I'm almost finishing.
Sorry. Yeah.
In the power of words, the Islamic people believe that to protect the inside of these tinajas, we could use phrases like baraka, that means blessing, al-yum, that means happiness, al-mulk, that means the power of God, and in all of that to protect the contents from the jinns, because you can protect with a lid from mouses and other animals, but to protect it from the jinns, you need the power of these words. We also have a plate from the 14th century made in the Granada reign, and it has the alafia, that means well-being, painted in blue. So these are the most common words, baraka, al-yum, al-mulk, and alafia, that are presented in the Islamic ceramics. We also have the representation of the Hamsa, that means the number 5, and is wrongly known as the hand of Fatima. It's one of the most frequent talismans because it represents the 5 pillars of Islam: faith, prayer, charity, fasting, the fasting of Ramadan, pilgrimage to Mecca. And also it shows the contours of the word Allah, that means God. We also have the pentagram presented in a plate from the 16th to 17th century, probably made in Seville. And the pentagram has occurred in multiple cultures since ancient times. It's associated in Christianity with the 5 wounds of Christ and can be used among other purposes to avoid the evil eye. Finally, we have this cooking pot that was found underneath the stone of the threshold of this house. We don't know if it had a protective function, but it was probably that the purpose, to hide a cooking pot underneath the entrance of the house. Finally, we have to say that the study of these amulets, it's incomplete always, because we don't know who is the amulet bearer. Some of the objects came from deposition, secondary deposition contexts, and it does not it's not easy to interpret the meaning of its occurrence. All the objects that we saw are characterized by their religious, magical, symbolic, or even spiritual charge. Some of the objects carry symbols, phrases, signs, whose meaning is immediately perceptible, and the belief of the power of the amulet and its effectiveness is the reason why the people wear it. Thank you for listening. Sorry for my bad English.